So with the official announcement of Super Dragon Ball Heroes World Mission coming out for the Nintendo Switch and for Steam, I thought now would be the perfect time to teach you guys how to play Dragon Ball Heroes. Now note that in this video, I'll be using Dragon Ball Heroes Ultimate Mission X as an example, and the main difference between that game and World Mission is that you use 5 characters as opposed to 7 in World Mission, but besides that, everything else should practically be the same. But with that being said, let's get right into it. The very first thing is understanding character types. Now in Dragon Ball Heroes, there are 3 character categorizations, with them being hero units, elite units, and berserker units. Now normally in games when there's a trifecta, there would be a type of attack triangle. So for example, if it was attack, grab, and shield, attacks would beat out grabs, grabs would beat out shields, and shields would beat out attacks. But in Dragon Ball Heroes, that's not the case because there is no attack triangle. But instead, when you pair up certain characters with their typings, then they'll do a type of team attack. So for example, if you were to have 3 hero units, 2 elite units, and 2 berserker units, and when it's your turn to attack, the elite units would do their own team attack, then afterwards it will be maybe the hero units and they'll do their attack, and then afterwards would be the berserker units and they'll do their attack. So again, there is no attack triangle, and instead you want to pair up certain units with their own typings so they can ultimately deal more damage at the end of the day. Next up is building a team, and for this first point, I cannot stress this enough. When you build a team, build it based off of strategy, not power. Because if you go in with just a team based off of power, you will get absolutely obliterated. Now, the point is to make a team that synergizes well, because if you were to just grab all the strongest units in the game, throw them on a team and think that you're going to do good, you're more than likely not going to do so because those units may not work well with each other. So it's very important to strategize and plan accordingly to make the best team possible with a solid strategy behind it. Following from that, understanding the card structure is also very important. So when you look at a Dragon Ball Heroes card, you'll notice some information on the bottom, with the very first one being HP, afterwards being your attack, then your defense, and last but not least, a number on the bottom right hand corner. Each character comes with their own individual stats. However, one thing that you guys should note is that for the HP stat, it's tallied into an overall total that will determine your HP at the beginning of battle. Now, some characters may be stronger than others, but what ultimately determines their power is the number at the bottom right hand corner, because that number determines how much hero energy you need to utilize in order to use their ultimate attack. So for example, if I were to use a hit card and it had a number 8 at the bottom right hand corner, I would need 8 hero energy in order to utilize his ultimate attack, which is time skip Molotov. Or for another example, if I were to use, let's say, Master Shen, his has a number 3. So I would have to use 3 hero energy in order to use his move, which is Dot on Pa. However, things aren't always as straightforward as they sound, because in Dragon Ball Heroes, you're able to utilize items to completely change the tide of battle. Now, in Dragon Ball Heroes, there are 4 types of items. You can utilize rings, earrings, belts, and a brand new item that was added in Super Dragon Ball Heroes, which are swords. And with these items, you're able to add buffs onto your team, such as raising your HP, your attack, defense, utilizing different ultimate attacks on certain characters, or even doing types of team attacks, etc, etc. Or you can utilize it to nerf your opponent by lowering their HP, their attack, defense, or making them weak to certain attacks, etc, etc. These can completely change the entire tide of battle, so it's extremely important that you try to equip the best items you can possibly get onto your team. Hero badges are equally as important as items, because with these, you're able to get a serious buff within a certain point of battle, or you're able to nerf your opponent within a certain point in battle. So for example, if I were to utilize the Arale Hero badge, that severely cripples my opponent's defense for 1 turn, which is turn 1. So on that turn, I would need to really utilize everything I have to try to wipe out my opponent immediately, or to deal as much damage as possible so that I have a serious advantage. Things like that. That's what hero badges do. So you want to make sure that you aim for the best hero badges you can possibly find. And finally, we get into the basics of combat. So in Dragon Ball Heroes, there are 5 rounds total, and within those rounds, it's your job to defeat your opponent before time runs out, or to have the most HP over your opponent the moment time does run out. The field is divided into 4 areas. Going from bottom to top, you have the Rest Zone, then you have Attack Zone 1, then Attack Zone 2, and of course Attack Zone 3. All characters have 4 bars of stamina, and you can either have them replenish their stamina by having them wait a turn in the Rest Zone, or you can have them expend up to 3 bars of stamina by going to each Attack Zone, with Attack Zone 1 taking 1 bar of stamina, Attack Zone 2 taking 2 bars of stamina, and Attack Zone 3 taking 3 bars of stamina. Once you confirm your team's attack position, their stamina is tallied up to a total number, and this total number becomes your power level. This number determines whether or not you attack first or last in battle. If your number is higher than your opponent's power level, then you attack first. And if your number is lower than your opponent's, then you attack last. And now it's time for your attack and defense phases. And for this, you want to make sure that your gauge is always higher than your opponent's. Because if it's your attack phase, if your gauge is higher than your opponent's, then you will deal your attack. And if you have enough hero energy to do an ultimate attack, then you will do an ultimate attack for each character respectively. But if it's your defense phase, if your gauge is higher than your opponent's, then you will block their attack and prevent them from using their ultimate attack against you. Note that when a character takes open damage, they will end up losing stamina, and when their stamina reaches 0, they won't be able to act because they will be stunned. When this happens, you need to bring that character back to the Rest Zone so they can recover their stamina, and then afterwards they'll be able to act during the following turn. Dragon Ball Heroes also has QTEs, where you're able to execute certain commands on the screen to do different types of transformations, ultimate attacks, team ultimate attacks, special attacks like God Kamehameha, and even field effects like throwing a meteor to burn the opponent's field, and field events like the Giru Bomb. And with that, you guys now know all the basics of playing Dragon Ball Heroes. I really hope that this wasn't way too much to handle all at once, but at the very least, I wanted to make this video because with Super Dragon Ball Heroes World Mission coming out worldwide, I wanted to make sure that you guys knew how to play right off the bat, instead of having either potentially a difficult time learning as you went through, or a somewhat rough time in the long haul. I wanted to make sure that at the end of the day, you guys had a reference video so you guys know the basics and can just hop right into battle. But even so, let me know what you guys thought about this how-to video in the comment section below. With that being said, I'm Ndukauba, like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.